Whatever you need, God got it. Whatever you want, He'll supply it. Lift your voice and tell the Lord, say, Lord, I need you. Lord, I gotta have it. Shout yeah. Your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, if he did it before, he'll do it again. Well, the Bible records that when Jairus went down to find Jesus for his son, we're going to start right there, that's all right. Jairus went down to find Jesus because his daughter was at the point of death. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, in the midst of when you're going through what you're going through, you got to get a desperate praise. Look at somebody and tell your neighbor, you got to be desperate in order to get your miracle. You got to be desperate in order to get what you need from the Lord. Ask somebody, are you desperate? The second thing Jairus had to do was Jairus had to have some faith because he had to believe that if he just could get to Jesus, everything would be all right. You got to understand that Jairus was a ruler from the synagogue. And if you know your history, then you know that the people in the synagogue didn't even really believe in Jesus. But I want you to know that Jesus made a believer out of Jairus. Jesus, Jairus, have faith. Somebody stop your neighbor, high five, and tell your neighbor, you got to be desperate. You got to have faith. Shout glory. The last thing he did, and we're not going to stay here long tonight this morning, but I want you to know that the last thing Jairus had to do was when he got there, he was desperate. And when he got to Jesus, on his way to Jesus, he had to have faith. But the last thing that he had to do, which I want you to understand this morning, that in your situation, you've got to believe the report of the Lord. And the Bible records that Jairus, he believed what Jesus said. Everybody else said, hey Jairus, your daughter has died. One rendition said, hey Jairus, your daughter's at the point of death. Another rendition said, hey Jairus, your daughter is almost dead. But I want you to know, Jesus told Jairus, he said, Jairus, I want you to don't worry about them. He said, you and your wife and 3 of my disciples, we're going to go to your house. And the Bible says that when they went into the house, he called people murmuring. He saw people complaining that Jesus, he told the people, don't get out of here. What are you saying? Well, I'm telling you, that in your situation, in your circumstance, you can't let people tell you stuff that don't weigh the way of God. You can't let negative people be in your life. You can't let negative people tell you that you're not going to make it. You get somebody, help somebody disconnect from the negative folk. But you got to get your miracle. You got to get your healing. You got to get your way. Shout it! Shout it! So the Bible says that when they got into the house and they sent everybody with no faith out, the Bible records that Jesus, he looked at the girl, he touched her hands, and he told baby girl, he said, get up, look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, get up from where you are, get up from your situation. If he did it before, he can do it again. If he did it for Jerry, he can do it for me. If he did it for Moses, he can do it for me. If he did it for Jacob, he can do it for you. If he did it for David, he can do it for you. Shout yeah, shout yeah, shout yes. I know that my God can supply all of my needs according to his riches and his glory. Anybody need God to do it for you? Anybody need God to make a way? Anybody need God to open doors? Shout it! Shout it! If you need God to do it for you, do me one favor. Run up here, meet me here. If you need God to do it for you, touch my hand. If you need God to do it for you, make a way out of no way. Touch my hand. Let God do it for you. Let God make a way for you. Say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. If you need him to do it, you ought to open up your mouth and give God your best praise. Give God your best hallelujah. Give God your best thank you, Jesus. I know that God will make a way for you. I know that God will do it. But you know that God will do it just one more time. Lift your voice, open up your mouth, and shout glory.